Hello fans, collectors, investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I'm Iconic Al. And there's so many great VRs out there. I want to jump on the bandwagon and do my own VR Bonanza right now. There's so many great contests and VRs happening right now that I figured I'd just knock them all out in one video like many other YouTubers are doing right now. So without any further ado, let's get started. All right, there are 4 VRs that I'm going to do here in rapid succession. The first of which will be for Peter B. He recently reached 200 subscribers. And he wants us to show a card from our birth year. And for me, that is 1982. And without question, the most prominent card from 1982 in my collection, and one of my crown jewels, is the 1982 Donruss Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card, which I've had in my collection for 20 plus years, kept with me all those years, and then had the gratifying experience to have it grade a PSA 10. So was not expecting a 10 on this card, but very happy to get it, especially as someone who player collected Cal Ripken for many years. Just a beautiful card. A little bit off-centered on the back, but the card is otherwise flawless. Perfect centering on the front. Really nice color. And not an easy card to gem from the high pop wax years. So that is the card from my birth year, 1982. All right, next up, we have a dual VR between Sammy Thunder and Orlando from A Collector's Dream. Now these two channels are dangerously close to 2,000 subscribers, and just a matter of days before they get there. And they wanted us to do a VR called YouTube Friends, kind of showcasing some channels that we really enjoy. And what I chose to do with this challenge was introduce a few channels that I'm really into that have less than 250 subscribers, and that needs to change. The first of which being Video Guy 316. This is a guy named Doug who shows a lot of vintage cards. He's got 48 subscribers right now, so check out Doug, Video Guy 316, great channel, he's showing some great stuff. Number 2 is Old Sarge Collects. This is a guy named Dan. He's got 187 subscribers, showing a lot of really obscure pre-war stuff and cards you just don't see often. So I'm really enjoying Old Sarge Collects, so check him out. And then last but certainly not least, Mookie Chilson, one of my favorite guys in the YouTube community. He's all over the place, commenting on live streams, just a really good member of the community. Aside from that, a great fan of the game, a great collection, a lot of knowledge. He's a Mets fan through and through. I love his channel. I love his comments. He's got a great sense of humor. He's kind of the complete package when it comes to a YouTuber and a member of this community. So let's all go to Mookie Chilson and subscribe. He's got 221 subscribers, and that needs to be many multiples more than that. So Mookie Chilson, call out for him. And let me just say in advance, congratulations to Sammy Thunder and Orlando at A Collector's Dream for getting to 2,000 subscribers, getting to that plateau. That's a huge number, a great accomplishment in the YouTube world of sports cards that we're operating in. That's just a great accomplishment. So congratulations, and thank you for introducing this VR contest, guys. Keep up the good work. Okay, the third VR that I want to address here is John at 3D 80s Kid wants us to share some of our hobby obsessions. And the direction I want to take this is just sharing a few of my quirks when it comes to grading and graded cards. The things that kind of bother me that I just kind of can't stand to have in my collection for one reason or another. And there are 3 of them. Number 1, I really don't like modern SGC slabs for the simple reason that the number grade on the flip is much too prominent. It's much too bold. It's much too large. And anytime I look at a modern SGC tux, my eye immediately goes right to the number grade, which I don't want to happen. No, I want to be focused on the card, appreciating its beauty, looking at the elements, the photo. I don't want my eye to go right to this big, bold, black numerical grade at the top of the label. So I choose not to own any modern SGC slabs. The one exception is this Clemente that I picked up at this year's National. and it doesn't have a numerical grade, so it doesn't really bother me. And it kind of needs to be in this slab because it's designated as having belonged to Clemente himself. So I will always keep it in this slab. And it doesn't bother me because there's no numerical grade to draw my eye. It just says A for authentic. And it probably would grade a 1 or less anyway. So it doesn't really bother me. I just wanted to show the only example of a modern SG slab that I own. So that's probably unique to me. Makes me weird, but it's just one of those quirks for my collection. The second grading thing that I have is I don't like qualifiers. It's almost like this is a PSA 4, but no, it's not. And this is why. And they've kind of done away with qualifiers in a lot of cases, but I don't own any cards with qualifiers on them just because it isn't like an apples to apples comparison with the rest of my cards, and it's very hard to then price them or value them. Like, what is it then? If it's a 6 OC, well, what the heck do you have then? Is it a 4? Most likely, but you don't know for sure. It's just, I don't like that qualifier, so I don't own any. I've had some in the past come back with the qualifiers, and I've sold them and elected to get cards that don't have qualifiers. So that's just one of my other things. And then the other final thing, the grading quirk of mine, is I don't like cards graded a 1. And it's not being a snob about it. And I really couldn't even describe why I really didn't like owning 1s until Darren from Return to Collecting really verbalized his thoughts on why he doesn't like 1s. And that's exactly what I feel. It's basically the grading scale lacks differentiation between a low 1 or a high 1, which is why I'm fine with owning 1.5s, because it tells you a lot more about the quality of the card. It's like when you take a test and you get an F. You could get a 2% giving you that F, or it could be a 44% giving you the same grade of an F. I'm not equating a 1 with an F, but in a way, the grade itself gives you too wide of a spectrum, and it lacks differentiation. At least if you get a D-, then okay, well, you were close. You were at the top end of not great. So at least if you have a 1.5, in my mind, that tells you, all right, well, this card is probably very close to a 2. It's not a low-end 1. It's a high-end 1. So that's my best explanation. And I only have one card graded a 1, and it's kind of an exception in my collection. This is my only 1 grade in my entire collection. I have a lot of 1.5s, but this is the first T206 card that I ever owned. I owned it raw for 20 plus years, and then when it came back a 1, I was a little bit bummed because I thought it was easily a 1.5, but it being the first T206 card that I ever owned, being a Pirates Hall of Famer, this is Fred Clark from the T206 set, Piedmont back, and it got a 1, and it's a beautiful 1. It's a great 1. There's no heinous anything, no paper loss. Even the centering is quite good. I would certainly put it on the high end of a 1, personally, maybe even bumping it to a 1.5 or a 2, but this is what PSA assigned it. It having a lot of sentimental value to me, being my first T206 card and a Pirates Hall of Famer, it will be in my collection forever. So this is my one exception. But generally, I don't prefer PSA 1s, I don't prefer qualifiers, and I don't prefer modern SGC slabs. So those are my kind of 3, you could call them obsessions or quirks, whatever you want to call them, but that's the way I feel, and that's the way that I collect, for better or for worse. And then the final VR that I want to do is for Hugo at Signs of the Pastime. It's a pretty simple one. He said, quite simply, show the best card you picked up this year. And I didn't have to think very long. It was at the National this past year, and it's a monumental card in my collection, one that I saved up for pretty much the entire year to be able to land this card. And here it is. It's a 1948 Bowman, Stan Musial rookie card, his true rookie, in a PSA 4. A grade much higher than I thought I'd be able to get. I was targeting a 2 or a 3, and this example of a 4 blew me away with the centering, the resolution of the image, just the quality of the card. it was one that I had to buy when I saw it. Even though it made me reach a little bit over my budget this year. Sometimes you see a card that you kind of can't pass up on, and this was the case. And this will be shown on an upcoming countdown video. Spoiler alert. So this is my pickup of the year. 48 Bowman, Stan Musial. One of the greatest of all time. All right, well, thank you for bearing with me on these VRs. I will have a countdown video coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned. And until next time, everyone, keep collecting and stay iconic.